Hello, Emmaus High School. My name is Mr. Stuchko, and I teach 9th grade students, and I'm the host of the 9th Grade Experience podcast. For the students and staff here at Emmaus High School, it has been a challenging start to the school year, but we've made it through the first marking period, and we hope you can continue the positive momentum you've gained for the remainder of the year. November is a month where we have the opportunity to reflect and think about things we are thankful for. For the previous 2 years, we have produced a podcast episode called The Attitude of Gratitude, and we're doing it again this year. So next week, November 15th through the 19th, I will be looking for students and staff in any grade to share things that they are thankful for here at Emmaus High School. If you stop by room 223 during block 1 or send a message to Mr. Stuchko through email or Schoology, we can set up a time to quickly chat and record your Thanksgiving message. There will also be times available through Zoom, so read the school announcements for details. Thanks for participating and listening to the podcast. You can find all the episodes at 9thgradeexperience.com. All right. Welcome, everybody, to this episode of the 9th Grade Experience podcast. We have another new one here for the show. So if you're watching on YouTube, you're seeing people live and in person, and you're seeing people on a Google Meet. We had to go old school for the Google Meet today. So we have multiple members of our Global Citizens Club here. We like to highlight different organizations here at the high school and talk about what they're doing and how it fits into maybe 9th graders or kind of the things that we have. So we have 3 people live in person here. So if you're watching on the screen, to my right is we have Shiv, we have Cecilia, we have Ariana, and then at home, Google meeting in, we have Britney. So everybody, thanks a lot for joining us this morning.
Thank you for inviting us.
All right. So we always ask our guests to describe their 9th grade experience. So we have one current 9th grader, and that is Ariana. So Ariana, why don't you tell us, we're, at the, we just got done the first marking period. So what has your 9th grade experience been like so far?
It's a lot bigger than my middle school. So it definitely took a while for me to try to understand where everything was, especially when the marking period changed. And I was like, I've never been on this floor very often.
So what middle school were you at previously?
LMS.
Okay. So yeah, big difference there. And how was it adjusting? So obviously you got involved in a club early during your freshman year. Was there a reason that you decided to join Global Citizens Club so early in the school year?
Well, I know I had a couple friends that were also joining, but I just wanted to join a lot of clubs. I'm in 3 other clubs, not including Global Citizens. So I just wanted to expand what I was learning and what I joined in. So
okay, so that's cool. So for our other people here, so we have Shiv is in 12th grade, Cecilia is in 10th, and Britney, I think you're in 10th too, right?
Yes.
So why don't you tell us, as briefly as you can, a little bit about your 9th grade experiences, and did any of those experiences lead you all to joining Global Citizens Club? And then we'll kind of talk about what Global Citizens Club is. So I don't know who wants to go first. We're going to really test technology as we balance in person and Google Meet here.
Okay, so my 9th grade experience, it wasn't what I expected it to be. It was my first year, everything was virtual. I was a completely remote learner, so that was new for me. But it was also a period of self-discovery, and I developed a lot of morals at that time. And I feel that that's what kind of led me to join the Global Citizens Club. I started to learn that I have a passion for culture, a passion for my own ethnicity, and I wanted to teach other people about that. And that is when I joined the Global Citizens Club. And I also experimented with other clubs as well, and I had a great time there. But as of this year, I'm only in this club, and I've had a great experience so far.
And we'll get to the other people in a second here, but did you find it difficult when being a remote student that you were joining a club and getting yourself involved? We were talking beforehand that you're one of the co-presidents of the Global Citizens Club in your second year. So, you haven't, I don't know, have you been physically in the building to even participate in any of the events? So you're kind of like this, you're part of this club, but you're not technically in the building. So how has that been, kind of getting yourself involved with something where you're not even physically a part of it?
Right. So last year, it was pretty easy because everyone was over Zoom. So I didn't feel very different. This year, it was a bit more difficult. I do still go inside of the building for all of my meetings. And for any events I do like attend to physically, it's just a bit harder to communicate with other students in the club. I feel like that's the biggest issue, getting into contact with other students. But I think it's still been a great experience, and I don't think that I've missed out on much as far as the club goes.
And then how about for either Shiv or Cecilia, what is your, like if you go back to your ninth grade experience, you're going back a little bit further. You survived the, all the different things that we've had going on, the flood and all the other things. You've had quite the memorable 4 years here at Emmaus. But if you can think back to your freshman experience and like, have you been a part of Global Citizens since that time? Like what was, think back to your freshman year and did it encourage you to be a part of this club?
I was in Global Citizen Club since ninth grade because I belong from India. Like I was born there and I want everyone to know about my culture. So in ninth grade, we did an event like we put all the different culture clothes on the social study hallway cabinet near the staircase. And we also did the food and stuff. So I just wanted to know, like, I wanted to tell everyone in Emmaus High School about my culture. That's why I joined Global Citizen and I'm loving it.
And then how about for you, Cecilia? Was there a ninth grade experience that kind of led you to want to be a part of Global Citizens Club, or, what was your ninth grade year like?
It was just kind of like trying to get into a lot of clubs so I can like see what I wanted to do for like years going on. So like I tried going into other clubs and I'm like, that doesn't really like match with me that well. And then I tried out Global Citizens and I loved like learning about different cultures. Like we did this one thing where it's like we researched a food from each of our different cultures. And then it was like we could either make it or just like make a slideshow. And I thought that was really fun because I made these like Scottish shortbread cookies and they turned out horrible, but it was fun. It was good.
So one of the things that I think all of you shared was this, like wanting to learn more about either your own culture or cultures of other people around you. So can you describe a little bit of what Global Citizens Club is about? I think kind of that's what it would be about discovering other cultures around you. But like, what is the message of the group? What is the purpose of the Global Citizens Club?
So the purpose is basically to convey the message that yes, we have physical differences and we want to acknowledge that and appreciate that, but on the inside, we're all the same. So we get to appreciate the different lifestyles of other people. And I feel that Global Citizens, it takes away what people think would be painful about learning about other cultures. Like when people think about learning other cultures, they might feel that you have to research it. You have to open up your computer, take notes, yada, yada, yada. But Global Citizens does this practice of submersion where you get to take things of your everyday life, like cooking, listening to music, and just tweak it a little bit to make it a part of another culture. And that really broadens your perspective overall.
And how about for the people here, if you were to describe to people that are watching or listening, like what do you guys do at Global Citizens? You were talking about some of the events that you do with like sharing of the culture, sharing of food. Like what would you, if you were to sell the people listening on, like why should they join Global Citizens Club? What would you tell them?
Well, it's like I really love how diverse the club is. Like we have so many different people from like different countries, different cultures. And Mrs. Kita is just like an amazing advisor for it as well. Like we all love Mrs. Kita. But like some things that we do like cahoots based on like different cultures, or if there's like a celebration that a specific culture does, we have like a day that we just kind of talk about it. Like last week it was Diwali. So we had two girls that like had beautiful dresses on that like came in and they just kind of like talked about it.
So definitely like celebrating, like talking about different holidays, different things. And I think that's important too, especially for like students, like when we have off for certain days or we celebrate these days, or like even when our school district puts up like, happy whatever day it is, that students kind of understand that kind of stuff. So I think it's interesting that you kind of have an opportunity as a club to be able to explain that to people in a way that's not like Britney was saying, like in a book learning type way, but more interactive, more like the stuff that people think about when they think about different cultures. Very rarely do you care like, oh, the average rainfall in X place is this. Like you want to know, like, what do they eat? What do they celebrate? Like what kind of music do they listen to? Like, do they wear cool clothes? Like that's the kind of cool stuff that I think, students would be interested in learning about. Has there been like a specific thing maybe for Celia or I'm sorry, for Ariana or Shiv, like, is there a specific thing that you think, like thinking back on, you're like, wow, like that was a really cool event that we did, or like maybe something that you did personally in the club that like you would like recommend to people, or like things like as an example of like what they do? You were saying like, last week was Diwali, like different like things like are things you do as part of the club.
Well, I wasn't here for very long. I've only been here for like a couple months.
Yeah.
So I can't like give you like a big thing of what we did, but there's a lot of different activities that we do like throughout the meeting. We do like little games, and we like try to learn things about each other. We did this one game that was like, okay, here's the capital. Here's a question about another capital. Try to find the other person. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like it had a little thing that's Peru, and then it had another question. It's like, what is the capital of Germany?
So you had to like match up with the person that was like had that country. So like if I am like I say that I'm of Lithuanian descent, which I am. So like if I went to Global Citizens and that's like the my culture that I want to identify with, and I would pick like the capital, and then you would have to match up with somebody else. And I guess I would encourage you to talk about your different spots, right? Yeah. So sharing different, all those differences and getting students to understand like why that's important. So my question, and I'll throw this one to Shiv first, and then all of you can kind of answer, is kind of like why in our current climate, current situation, and even in Emmaus High School, why is it important for students to learn about these other cultures? If we're so like wrapped up in ourselves, and maybe sometimes we don't think about other groups of people, like why is a group like Global Citizens important for students here at Emmaus High School?
I feel like people should know about like different cultures all around the world, because there's like all different students in Emmaus High School. It's not only people from America, it's like from all over the world. And it's necessary to know different lifestyle, because like such as in India, there's like people struggling to educate. Like there's so much problems with education and stuff that we don't know about, and we should appreciate like how much we have.
Yeah, I like that what you said there at the end, the appreciation of it. A lot of times students don't know the stories of other countries from around the world. Like we talk about it a little bit in our global science class of like how different countries don't have the same resources that we do. So like the Global Citizens Club would be an extension of like those kinds of conversations of like, not every place has, sometimes we think like just because we don't personally have the newest iPhone or the newest whatever it is, that like, oh man, we don't have stuff. But like when you look across the world, like I always bring up, and maybe I'm wrong with this, but like we learned about something where like more people in India have access to a cell phone than a toilet, which maybe not as true, but at one point it was, because like that was like a big thing, like because they're the like plumbing and like indoor plumbing and the ability to do that was kind of limited, whereas a cell phone, you just kind of need to have a cell phone. So like just even stuff like that, where it's like getting people to understand that like there are lots of things around the world that are not as nice as we have them here. So definitely learning about other cultures. Any other reasons why like the students here should be made aware of the different cultures, or even learning about your own culture? Because I think that's something that you all talked about, is like you have to come to this like with a little knowledge of your own culture. Maybe like as a 14-year-old or 15-year-old, I don't even know about the culture that I'm from.
One thing that I'm a firm believer on is that ignorance is fueled by lack of knowledge. You need to educate yourself if you want to understand everything else going on in the world, if you want to understand racism, politics, history, everything, you need to educate yourself. And Global Citizens also gives you the opportunity to connect with people of the same culture as you. I haven't been able to do that but prior to joining the club, and I feel like that was a really valuable experience for me. So also realizing that culture affects our everyday lives, and understanding that culture is going to influence the way a person thinks, it's going to influence their fears, what they believe, everything. It's all because of culture, and we need to be aware of that if we want to get the widest perspective on modern day issues as we can.
Well said. Anyone here want to add to that, or kind of talk about like, the importance of studying outside of your comfort zone, or studying other cultures as well?
It's incredibly easy to judge other people for doing things that you're not used to seeing. So when you're put into this environment where everybody's doing different things, and everybody has different cultures and different things that they do on a daily basis or throughout the year, and you don't see that very often, people are really easy to judge of like, why you do that? Why are you doing this? Why are you speaking like that way? When you meet other people with different cultures, you're like learning about it. You're learning about why they do it, why it's important, and why you shouldn't judge them, and why you should learn about it. It helps you. It helps you grow your mindset, and I think it's important to learn about it.
Yeah. What if I'm a student, right, and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, I don't have, like, I just kind of live my daily life, and I don't have like, I don't celebrate different things, or I don't like have like outward signs of the culture that I grew up. Like, what would you suggest to a student for in that case of like, maybe they just don't feel like they identify with a culture, or like they don't have this like cool traditions or things that they see from other cultures? Like if I'm just sitting here and I'm like, I don't know what I do, I just kind of do my daily thing. Do you have a suggestion to like what they should look for or try, or places to research, or just come to Global Citizens and they'll kind of help you to find those kinds of things?
I suggest that they should like talk to people from different cultures, and like most of the times these people will be willing to share their like celebrations and their like everything with the person if they want to find something to celebrate. Like they can just ask nicely, and I don't know, like people will take them in, and they can come to Global Citizens, and we'll like be able to shed some light on different cultures and different celebrations and all that fun.
It's a valuable lesson there to like get out of your comfort zone and actually come and try to learn different things. Like, it's being a global citizen. Like it's like we're part of this big global world now. We have access to all these different things. We can see all these different celebrations and stuff. But I think it also, like when you can meet with people in person and kind of get to talk to them and get to know them, I think it's a really important thing, not just for the club itself, but like for here at Emmaus High School, because I forget who said it, but we have so many different nationalities, cultures, like so many different types of people represented here at Emmaus High School. And they might only be like one or two of a certain group, but like they're still an important part of our school culture and our school community. So I really like the message of Global Citizens. I wanted to highlight one of the things. So I think it's usually in the spring, they do a t-shirt sale. They're usually a pretty cool one. And they have a design from, I think a club member designs them, and they're usually pretty comfortable t-shirts. So when they come on sale, make sure you're paying attention to the announcements, whether it's ETV or the daily announcements, but you'll definitely see those. And I know they put flyers up all around the school as well too. But Brittany had emailed me to talk about what they did with the money from when they raised the t-shirts. And I think that's always cool to know, like, hey, like we sell these shirts. So like, where does the money go to? So last year, Brittany, what did they do with the money from the t-shirt sales?
So last year, since the year prior to that ended a bit early, we actually had some leftover funds, and we had more money last year than usual, in addition to our newly earned funds from that t-shirt sale. So we had about like over $1,000 to spend, I think like 1,400 to spend for all of our funds. So we donated about like 750 to two different organizations. One of them was to Women in Myanmar, which was a minority group who was being kicked out of their homes. We donated money to them so that they can afford an emergency fund and to protect themselves. And the other half of our money went to a library in Zambia. I believe it is the Raise a Smile Library, one that Mrs. Kita actually had previously done volunteer work for. We decided to donate money to them. And after that, we actually had a meeting at the end of last year with the library's owner. Her name is Jenny. And she showed us all of the cool books and games that she bought for all of her kids. And we got to learn all about what life is like in Africa. And it's a lot different than life in America, more different than you'd think, actually. But it was so, so cool to learn about. Even just the time difference. It was like the afternoon for us and then nighttime for her. It was really interesting to learn about. And we will hopefully be working with those children from the library this year.
And, it's a great example of like the clubs and organizations here at Emmaus High School. Like we talk about, one of the things we always talk about on the show is getting involved and being a part of those organizations. And it's so cool to see literally your global reach again. Like you were able to give money to people, in Asia and in Africa, and like these so worthy causes, and to learn about the places where you're donating the money to. And again, like, it's really awesome to be able to provide an opportunity for students to be able to think outside of, Emmaus and Lower Macungie Township, to be able to explore all these different spots around the world that need help and have different things going on. So do you have anything in mind that you're thinking about for this year as well as part of the, whatever, if you've raised funds, do you have something in mind that you're targeting already?
Yeah, so the place that we donate to is actually a student-decided organization. What we did last year is each student had like a group of people that they had to work with, and they formed a presentation based off of a certain issue. So like a group of people who are struggling with education, a group of people who are struggling with food, and they would focus on that. And you could present as many charities as you want, and then we chose our charities through group vote. So it is a very collaborative process. Also, making the t-shirts in general is a very collaborative process too. I think every member got to play an active role in that. And as for future plans of the club, we have some things that we're actually going to discuss at our next meeting. That includes a cultural potluck, where we can all bring different foods from our own cultures and sit down and have a meal together. Also, days of culture, where a student will be able to book a meeting, an entire meeting for themselves, where they can talk about their own culture and do a bunch of interactive activities with club members. And also for the month of December, we were talking about experimenting with cultural art through gingerbread houses. And also previously during Halloween, we did pumpkin carving. And some of the stuff, it's just for fun. It's just for a bonding experience, but it really does help us like become a family, and it's it's one of the things that I feel are most beautiful about this club.
I really like the gingerbread house building idea. That would be kind of fun if you could like theme your gingerbread house instead of building the same old gingerbread house with the gumdrops that have been in the package since like 2006, and being able to do that. So I'll ask the ladies here, do you have any ideas or things that you might pitch, or things that you would hope that maybe the organization or the club might like take a look at as being the donation thing for this year, or things that you kind of focus on?
I don't have an idea as of now, but it's like the good thing about Global Citizens is that we just all work together to create ideas. So it's like in future meetings, like next meeting after that, it's like we'll all be brainstorming together and like being able to piggyback off each other, like in each other's ideas. And yeah, so I don't have an idea as of now, but we will soon.
Anyone else have an idea or thing that they'd like to donate to? No. So I think it's actually cool that like part of the club here, and I guess if you're a freshman listening or anybody listening, that, you can come in and you can be an active part of the club. It's not like that the officers have all the stuff planned and this is how it's going to run and we're only going to do this. Like, I think everyone kind of has a unique hand in deciding where those things, the monies go, or the things they focus on. And, you bring your own unique culture to this. So I appreciate, Britney and Shiv and Cecilia and Ariana taking time out this morning here to talk to us about global citizens. So this is, we'll let you kind of plug all the different spots. So if I am now, I've listened to this, I've watched it, I'm like, I want to be a part of Global Citizens. Where do I go? When do we meet? And how can I find out about you on any of the social medias or anywhere in the building?
So last year, we actually came up with a student-made website. The link is located on the announcements, and on that link is information to join the Schoology, as well as a link to our Instagram. So you can find all of the information you need to on the website and also on the school announcements.
Okay. And then you meet every other Thursday or the first and third Thursdays of the month. Do you meet in Miss Kita's room?
Yes.
So that's 2:30. So it's right by the locker commons there. So, maybe on a Tuesday or maybe on a Thursday, you decide, hey, I'm not going to get on the bus today. It's literally the room that's right next to where all the lockers are. So you don't have to go very far. So you have that advantage. You don't even have to go find it in 568 land or wherever else you'd have to go. It's literally right there on your way out the door. So, this is a great club that I've tried to talk to people from Global Citizens for several years and kind of getting to learn about their experiences. So we'll have to look forward, maybe a little more collaboration, maybe finding some students that maybe want to share their experiences, or, if they're new to the country in ninth grade, we'll kind of look there. But again, thank you so much today to everyone for joining us. And go to a meeting. So every other Thursday, and find them in the school announcements. So thanks a lot for joining us, everyone.